everybody, and welcome in once again to the Casual Sports Podcast. As always, I'm Alec Caverna. Rejoining me after only making one appearance last week, Matthew Morrison. Welcome back to the show. This is the Casual Sports Podcast, Monday edition, starting out week 50 of the show. We're 2 weeks to a year here on your sports network. It's been a pleasure. Thank you to YSN DJ Oakley again for allowing us to do this every single day, or most days. We missed a couple here over the summer, but we're getting back to it. Hopefully we won't need to cancel any more until next summer, so, or at least until we hit the winter.
Yeah. Yep.
But
we're here. We're here now.
We are here. And Matt, you know what else is here? Football season, baby. We're in the full swing of things. You haven't been on a lot. We haven't got to talk football with you that much yet.
Oh man, I'm so happy for football. I mean, college football is this week, right? It was started.
Well, week 0 started this past week. Nebraska Northwestern, the Dublin game, a couple other games that were pretty good. We'll get into that, I think, a little bit tomorrow as we look ahead in the schedule as well. But yeah, this week, officially, week 1 of college football. No NFL this week. That starts the week after. So get a little bit of a break before we get down into it. But college football takes it this weekend.
I can't wait. There's some serious games. I'm sure we'll talk about those at a certain point. But
we'll talk about them all. I'm going to start. I got to put together our list like we did last year. We got 5, 6, 7 games a day that we got to start breaking down. So we can't waste much time getting into it. We'll start previewing the weekend tomorrow, so that way we can save Friday for your local games here on the network. But talking about those local games on the network, a couple of games from last Saturday. Cardinal Mooney took down the Lake Catholic Cougars 31-14. Cardinal Mooney's looking a lot better this season, Matt. You know, the slow start against Boardman, they couldn't pull out a win. Boardman got that late field goal to take it in the week 1. Here in week 2, though, they played a lot better. That offense got going. They're looking like a much better team than we've seen out of them in years past.
Yes. I haven't seen them much, but, from what you've been saying, I've seen highlights as well. I mean, their team has been down the past couple of years, and, they've seemed a little bit better this year. Yes, I have noticed that.
Well, all right, next game here. We're just going to go flying through some of these. There are a lot of games that go on. So Matthews took down Sebring 64-8. They've been dominating on Saturdays, man. That Matthew Mustangs team, they're good.
They sure are. And they're right down the street from me in Vienna. I went to a couple of their games. They get some talented players. They've had some good teams over the years. And, a lot of us in the area, when we were kids, we had our little league team, and, a lot of them split up to Brookfield. But, we had a handful go to Matthews as well. Just a local school right down the street that has football, or Badger does not. So, we lost a lot of our attendance to that, too. Everybody, the main thing is football. So
we're in a football town, man. That's how it works. Other game, though, Hubbard narrowly beat out Greenville in one of the most awkward scores of the weekend, 8-3. The Eagles came out over the Trojans. That Hubbard team, what do you mean, how did that happen? They went for a 2-point conversion. They got it, and the other team hit a field goal. Either that or it's 2 field goals and a safety.
Okay.
For Hubbard.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just an awkward-looking score, 8-3. Not many football games end with an 11-point total.
No.
At least not these days. That Hubbard team, they lost some talent, but, I think they've started 2-0 despite that. So
the running back was a huge loss.
Yeah, he was huge for that team. So I think he
went to Ohio State.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
Next one, Niles came up short against the Alliance Aviators 55-28 after getting their week 1 victory. So they moved to 1-1. It's a big score total led up by the defense, though. They're going to have to solidify that before next Friday.
Alliance has some big players. I've seen their roster. They're big dudes. Man, Alliance is a football town. It really is.
Yeah, they're a big one. Well, the Orange Lions had their YSN debut crushed by the Mineral Ridge Rams 48-6. Mineral Ridge really getting down into it this year. They've had a solid start to the season.
Games. I kind of want to get on one of their calls, honestly.
We got a chance to see them last year. We got a couple free weeks coming up where both our squads are on the road. We'll see where they send us, but they're interesting so far. But how about this team that's really showing out to start the season? Girard took down Liberty 48-0. I know Mike would be pumped if he was here on the show, but that's impressive because they were in a lot of close battles last year. They were, 7-5 as their overall record. They were pretty good, but this year, man, it feels like Girard football's back.
I hope it is. Those Girard Indians, a tough team. They had a tough playoff loss. We were there for that one. I mean, it was so cold. First of all, it was so cold. Believe me, I was on the sidelines. It was freezing. And, to go out there and battle that team like they did and still come up short. But, I mean, they're a tough, hard-nailed team.
And I think that loss to Kirtland I think that loss last year kind of has this team reinvigorated going throughout this season because they know what the best of the best looks like in Kirtland.
I think so. Yeah.
Next one up here. This might be one of the best teams in the region, probably the best in their own division. Lowellville. They took down Campbell Memorial 50-14. Vinny Balone and his Rockets, man. That is the best offense I think I've ever seen take a field. If there's anybody I want to see go up against, one of our top dogs in Ursuline, Canfield, or Fitch, I want to see Lowellville. Just go out there and give it a shot because that team, so much talent on the offensive side. Their defense, I think, would worry me in one of those high-profile games, but where they play and who they play against, their defense is just fine, and I think they're going to make a solid playoff run, maybe go all the way if this offense holds up. But, I mean, Vinny Balone had, 7 touchdowns in the first game? I think he's over double digits after this week in 2 games. So
they play Mineral Ridge.
Yeah, they are such an amazing team. They're insane.
We've seen Vinny Balone before, haven't we? We've called Lowellville.
We saw him, I think it was 2 years. I think we may have seen him last year, but I think we saw him 2 years ago as well. We might have seen him once in each of the last 2 seasons.
I think so.
I don't remember who he played.
We've called so many games. Games.
Right, but Geneva took down Struthers 42-20. I think some people kind of surprised by that one. Struthers really looked good in their opening game against St. Thomas Aquinas, and they just were unable to get that offense reinvigorated going into week 2.
Yeah, Struthers, they had that hot start. They had a much tougher opponent this time, I think, than they did last time. And, it shows. They just weren't ready for the contest, it looked like.
Well, United Golden Eagles took down the East Canton Hornets 55-21, and I got to shout this out. The EOAC is looking like a monster of a conference this year between United, Southern, Valley, Christian, Lisbon, I believe, as well. There are some teams right now that are throwing their hats in the mix. Once this group gets into conference play, it's going to be a slugfest between these schools. They are looking really talented, and United showed that off with a 55-21 victory.
Oof, man.
Yeah, Western Reserve did not pull off the win against the Conneaut Spartans. It was close, put in a good fight, but ultimately fell just short, 20-17, dropped it by a field goal. Got to give props there in a close game that Conneaut able to pull it out. Shame Western Reserve just had to be on the losing end of things. Western Reserve going into Brookfield next week. At least one of us will be on the call for that game. Not sure who just yet or if it'll be both of us. We're still working out details.
Yeah, we're still working on details. They'll probably end up being both of us on it. But
for the Brookfield home opener, Brookfield, we'll get to their game a little bit later here in the show. But Western Reserve, John Armani, his first season, he's going to be building that program. They're going to have their ups and downs, but I think with him at coach, always expect him to be competitive, even if they do lose.
Yeah, I think so too. Conneaut, one of those tough lake teams. Conneaut comes in and gives you a game anytime, and that goes along with Jefferson as well. And Western, only a 3-point loss, but still put up 17 points. There's some pluses in that loss, but I'm pretty sure they're going over the negatives in this week. I bet you week 3 they pull off their win. I bet you they get their first win this week. Who they got?
Who? Sorry.
I wonder who they got.
Who are you saying?
Western Reserve. Oh, they play Brookfield. Oh,
that's what I was just saying.
They ain't winning. Never mind.
We'll talk about that later on in the week, Matt.
Maybe a couple of weeks.
But how about this team? Austintown Fitch, 38-14 over the Canton McKinley Bulldogs. This team has now taken down has won 2 of the highest profile games ever on this network. And
look out for them to make a run, man.
I know a lot of people are putting Canfield as the number 1 team in their power rankings, but I wouldn't take Canfield on a one-on-one against this Fitch team. This Fitch team is loaded. They're so good. They're such a solid fundamental unit combined. I don't think anyone's touching them.
No.
Not here. At least not here in this region. It's not happening. No. They've beaten an out-of-state team. They've beaten a perennial powerhouse in Canton McKinley. I don't see anyone touching these guys.
I don't see it.
State run for Fitch. Calling it here. Week 2 of the season. I'm calling Fitch to win it all.
I got a couple.
They're going to be playing in Canton McKinley Stadium in a couple months, which will be, ironic that they beat them early in the year.
Yeah. I got a couple other teams here too. So I'm like, look out.
Well, throw them out there when we get to them. Ursuline Fighting Irish just destroyed 51-6 over Padua Franciscan.
What kind of name is that? Padua Franciscan. What?
I don't remember exactly how that one's pronounced. It's either Padua or Padua.
The Bruins.
Yeah, the Bruins. But Ursuline's looked amazing here in the first 2 weeks of the season, Matt.
Yeah.
Just slaughtered our Brookfield team. Now they just took the Bruins to the woodshed. Man, they're on a revenge tour here early.
Yeah, look out for them. That's another one of my teams. Look out for them because they're.
You think they can go back?
Mad. I think they could. They're mad.
DC Farrell has this team clicking good as well. I mean, you've seen it 2 weeks, and they put up 50 points in each of them or close to it. Yep. I don't remember the exact score total against Brookfield, but I think it was over 52. I thought it was 52-14.
It was 52-14. Yep.
Okay.
So 50 points in the first 2 games.
Yeah. So they've combined for 103 points to 20 is how they've outscored opponents so far. Amazing by that team. Cheney Cowboys. I was a little surprised they put this one high on Boardman. 40-14. I like their team. Yeah, I was surprised. Well, Boardman, keep in mind, they're not the team they used to be. They're good. No. They're 1-1 here to start the season. But I do think, after the 10-7 victory over Mooney, they've had some, I'll say, not Boardman-esque years. Boardman, a powerhouse, high in divisions. They're a team you expect to play well, but they're having some down years. The program's not exactly at the highest of its powers right now. But I was really surprised Cheney came in here and did what they did in this game. I thought it was going to be close when you play this many divisions in between you two. And especially when you look at Cheney last year, they didn't have a good season, even with the astronomical amounts of talent on that team. And this year, they've started out just fantastic.
That's another one of my teams right here. Like, I think they can make a run. I don't know all the way to state, but I think that they're definitely getting into the playoffs. It'll be the first time in a while that they've made it. This is the year where they're going to do that. Taking down Boardman that bad. I get it, Boardman's down, but 40-14, man.
That's impressive. They got some great players. I mean, you got to keep in mind they got that defensive back and Jason Hewlett, and that guy's already committed to Cincy, so he'll be playing at the next level here very quickly. Next game up, though, Indian Creek took down the Potters of East Liverpool 26-14. Potters got out to, I think, a good week 1 victory, but offense came a little short here this time out.
Yeah, that Indian Creek team, I've kept an eye on them a couple of times here. I mean, they can play. I mean, a very tough battle game here, East Liverpool. I think they did win that week 1. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. We'll have to look. But, I mean, not a bad game, 26-14, a closer game than we've just talked about. So
they beat Minerva 44-7.
Huh?
They beat Minerva 44-7 week 1.
That's right.
This week they just, I don't know, offense just wasn't clicking like it did last time out.
Yeah, but it happens,
Yeah, it does. McDonald came out on top of Columbiana 14-13, 1-point victory. And that's good for McDonald. They need one of those wins.
I want to see how that ended. What did they do? They scored a touchdown, 3 seconds left, and then missed the extra point?
That would be heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Well, next game, this scoreboard looks a lot closer than the game was. Brookfield comes out on top of the Springfield Tigers, 27-14. It was 27-0 in that fourth quarter. Brookfield let off the gas. Springfield's offense finally did start clicking. They looked a lot better in the late half of that game than they ever did in the first half. Colton Rourke found Shondale Gardner a lot more. I was on the call for that game, and that Springfield team, they looked a lot better in the second half. Their third quarter, they shut out Brookfield fourth quarter. Brookfield got one more point, but it was 20-0 going into the half. And that second half, I think Brookfield was kind of shortened their playbook, wasn't going to show everything for the rest of the season, kind of hit a few plays in there. But they had some big hitters from Christian Davis, Aiden Jones, Donovan Pulowski, Isaiah Jones. The whole group was getting in there. And I gave player of the game to the defensive side of A.J. Bartland. Dude just dominated in this game. Last year, Bo Brungard made about every single tackle. This year, it was A.J. Bartland. That dude was all over the field defensively. Every time I called out a play, A.J. Bartland was there.
He's always there. He's always there. Yeah.
He was a menace to society. It was a great game, though, and, you know, one of us will be on the call this coming week for Brookfield's home opener, and I'm expecting big things out of this team. They got the tough test in week 1. You know, I talked to Randy Clark. He's like, hey, that's what we wanted. We wanted that hard test. We took a lot of things out of that game that they were able to kind of put in here to week 2, and their line looked 1,000 times better than it did against Ursuline. So playing back, I mean, technically Brookfield's playing the division down in this one because Springfield moved back into Division 7. Or Springfield moved into Division 7, Brookfield's Division 6, but it was an impressive game overall for Brookfield. And Springfield, I think next year they're going to be just fine yet again. And even their head coach, and Sean Guerrero, he was telling me, he's like, hey, early in the season, we're taking our lumps. We're going, you know, have some of those young guy mistakes. We're a young guy team. It's going to happen. But he said he's getting this team ready for week 10 and that postseason run. It's what this team is built around. It's what they've done the last couple of years. He's going to have this team ready to go by week 10. You know it.
Oh, yeah, he will. You will.
Canfield took down Bellevue, the Redmen, 28-12. A really impressive outing from that team yet again. Who's I don't know if we put out rankings this week, but I've seen a lot of people pushing towards Canfield at number 1.
Canfield, I mean, we just talked about them like they could make a state run. Like, this team is loaded. Their quarterback is whew. I was talking to one of our colleagues about it. He was on the call for Canfield, Richie Giuliana. This dude, he has high hopes for their quarterback, which his name's slipping my head at the moment. What's his name?
I don't remember it. I've heard it like 3 or 4 times this season, but I can never remember it.
Yeah, it's some. I'm sure somebody might pop it up. But
Matt, this isn't live.
Absolute great.
This is a pre-record. No one's popping up to help you.
Yeah, no one's popping up. I'm sure they'll be popping up later when they watch the pre-record, but we
potentially.
We'll just have to go watch it.
Perhaps. No.
But
well, I'm in class, so you go ahead and do that.
I'll be in class too.
Okay, we're both. I'm like, there's a reason we're pre-recording. None of us can be available at 2 o'clock. Next game though, Poland, they took down Louisville. I think surprisingly, 21-10. Poland, they lost to Cheney, I think it was in week 1, and I think after that, a lot of people kind of lost hope. Louisville, I think, now 0-2 on the season. So Poland, they're back to 1-1.
I like that Poland team. Very, very tough Poland team they have this year.
Wellsville got shut out by the Edison Wildcats, 41-0. Edison, potentially a team to watch, 2-0 to start the season. They beat Monroe Central last week, 42-8, I believe it was, and now 40-plus points again. Defense looking strong, giving up, under 10 points to start the season. Offense over 80 points. They're looking really good. When you can have a scoring ratio of nearly 10-1, you're doing something right.
Yeah, I would say so.
Let's see who else we got here on the network. Yeah, here's another one from the EOAC. Lisbon, 51-24 over the Fairport Skippers. I'm liking to see it, man. As I was saying earlier, this EOAC, man, they're looking tough.
Yeah. Fairport, I've called them before in a couple other sports. They'll give you some competitiveness, but sometimes they hold off the gas a little bit. And I've seen that in basketball a couple of times, but I don't know if that translates on the football field. But, they're I've seen them to be very competitive, and so is Lisbon. Lisbon is their football team is going to be great this year.
So far they've had the best offense in the EOAC so far in the season, 91 points for. However, of the undefeated teams, they have the worst defensive side, so they're going to have to sharpen up defensively. I think that was a tight game in their first week. I don't remember who they played here. Let me pull it up real quick. I got their schedule. Wyndham, it was a 40-25 point game. Now they win at 51-24. They need to sharpen up defensively, but when your offense is putting up near 50 points a game, you can allow 20 points. It's fine.
That's fine.
But I love this one with the EOAC. No one's played each other yet. Half the teams are 2-0. Half the teams are 0-2. So I think we have our clear separation of who's going to be the top teams and who's going to be the bottom teams this year. At least at the moment.
At the moment.
Conference play can flip that on a dime, though, especially if, a team like Columbiana or Latonia flips things around. East Palestine and Wellsville, they're going to need a strong turnaround to make some noise here in conference play.
I can see it happening. Yeah, you never know.
I know DJ's holding out hope for East Palestine turning things around, but I think they're now 1-31 in their last 32 games.
Anything can happen.
Anything can happen. I know DJ said that they've looked a lot better so far this season, so there's hope at least for that team is what at least we've heard so far. But they did lose this past week 42-7 to the Toronto Red Knights. Salem took down Beaver Local 40-27. I think Salem's going to go a little bit under the radar here in the early parts of the season. With how many high-profile teams we have going really hard here at the beginning of the year. I think Salem, being down there, pretty far away, at least from downtown Youngstown, like 40 minutes or 35, 40-ish. But I think they're a team that not a lot of people are going to pay attention to here in the early parts. But I think by week 4 or 5, if they continue pushing at this rate, I think a lot of people are going to be looking down to Quakertown.
I definitely agree with that. Salem, always a tough battle school in every sport. They're in, they can take it. I can't wait to see. I'm pretty sure Salem plays Canfield. Yeah, and
that Salem team, they've got a lot of strong boys on that squad. They got a great weightlifting program at that school as well. They got a lot of trophies in their weight room.
Yeah.
Next one up here, Latonia fell to the Martins Ferry Purple Raiders 43-13. Latonia off to a slow start.
The Martins Ferry Purple Riders. Wow, that's a name, man.
I don't know what they're writing that's purple, but
I don't know. I'm trying to look at their logo here.
Kind of looks like a Colts.
Looks like, yeah.
It looks like horseshoes. That's what it is. Horseshoes.
Yeah, the horseshoes. Yeah.
That's why I said Colts.
Yeah.
I've never seen a purple horse, though, so that's a new one for me.
I've never seen a purple horseshoe.
Yeah, haven't seen that one either. Granted, I haven't been around a lot of horses, so maybe that's on me.
Maybe.
Next game, though, another EOAC victory. Southern Local took down Crestview 12-7. But, man, Crestvew's been in some hard-fought games. They got a really good defense. Just their offense can't go anywhere. They held Salem, it was a 17-7 loss. Now Southern gets only 12 on them. It's just like they have such a good defense, but where's the offense for Crestview? They need to find something.
Yeah.
Crestview
will come around. I'm putting that out there now. This isn't going to last. They're the Rebels, man.
If their offense had 20 more points on the season, they would be 2-0.
Yep. They're going to come.
Which is had some good crazy teams to think about.
Put them 5-6 years ago. They had a heck of a team that I think
it was even 3 years ago. I think our first year broadcasting Brookfield football, they were a really good unit.
They made a state run 5-6 years ago, I think.
I think so.
Here's
a team that might make another state run, though. The South Range Raiders go over the University Preppers 42-14.
There's another name. The University Preppers?
I don't know. I don't name schools.
Hey, it's unique.
I just say them.
I like the unique names. I do. You got the Purple Riders and the Preppers. When I first saw it, I thought it said Peppers. I'm like, what?
That would be a funny name for a school, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, it would be.
But their football team should be the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Oh, dude, they could be the Red Hot Chili Preppers.
Yes.
There they go.
Yes, we got it. No.
Unfortunately, I don't think they're a YSN school, so we probably won't see them again this year.
Yeah, correct. But South Range, a very dominant team. They're always dominant. They're always there. They're like Ohio State. They've got tons of talent rolling in. That's it.
No, there's a chance that somebody could be seeing University School again here on the network. They got Howell in week 10.
Okay.
But I think that's the only local school they'll go up again yet again this season. I think they play down near Columbus.
They might be.
I don't know. They got a big schedule. They cover like all of Northeast Ohio with it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, fun one. But that was this past week's high school football, not college. I went from NFL to college to finally around to high school there at the end. But no, high school football games from this past weekend. It was a good weekend. I think all in all, we had some good weather. A little bit of rain here and there, but unfortunately, no mud bowls. We were close. Springfield, their final year on the grass up there in Tiger Stadium. They're putting in turf at the end of the year so long as they don't have any postseason games that would prevent it. As soon as that week 10 hits.
Friday was storming.
Friday was storming, but I was down there on the field. That grass was just fine. Little long, but didn't seem to affect either team very much.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, that was a good one. But no mud bowls. We're holding out. It's got to happen at some point. I was talking to both the coaches, and neither one of them had really even thought about it until I mentioned it, the fact that we had like no bad weather games all last season.
No? Well, I mean, there was cold games.
Games, but I mean, that's expected. You're going to have that. We had some utterly freezing games.
The only one that comes to mind is the lightning strike game a couple years ago where we had the Western Reserve game.
Yeah, no, I was just saying we had odd weather because I think we did finally. Regular season was fine weather, but when we had to go up to Lake, we had that freezing rain sleet mixture that was coming down. I think it might have been Gerard Kirtland. It was either that or it was whoever plays Lake in the first week.
Or was it Gerard Perry?
Oh, Kirtland, you're right. Gerard did play Perry. Who faced Kirtland last year?
Kirtland played. Oh man, who did Anthony Dema play for?
Oh, Dema? That was Garfield.
Yeah, they played Garfield.
Okay.
Garfield, Kirtland.
Yeah. All right. That makes that. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I've been messing that up all season.
That's all right. It's all right. But that was.
Well, we called two games at the same stadium. That's not one of our network stadiums. It confused me.
we were there at the same stadium. Back to back
for both those games, Well, on to the NFL. Final week of the preseason. Didn't see a ton of starters. We did get to see might be the final game of the Jordan Love experiment with Green Bay as they fall to the Chiefs 17-10, moved to 1-2 here in the preseason. Jordan Love, 16-26, 148 yards, 1 interception. And I think the experiment of Jordan Love is over, and that might be one of the biggest busts of the first round. Because didn't the Packers spend a first-round pick on Jordan Love?
For sure. Where did he go? Utah State.
Yeah, he was at Utah State. Yeah, he was taken in the first round of the 2020 draft. So, yeah, I think there's a new nominee for biggest first-round bust at quarterback.
Oh, wow. Kansas City has Shane Buechele. He went to Texas.
Still got Chad Henne as well. Didn't get much playing time. But, yeah, Buechele, 11-17, 166, 2 touchdowns. I forgot they got Ronald Jones Jr. in the offseason as well. He's going to be a good addition to that running game.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that'll be a good one. I'm still worried about who Mahomes is going to have to throw to out there. I mean, we know he's going to have, his big boy at tight end, but I don't know what else he's going to have. Yeah, he's going to have Juju, but we've seen Juju as a wide receiver 1. He's not wide receiver 1. They have to find a way for him to get into that wide receiver 2 spot.
Nope. No more Tyreek Hill either. That's going to be a killer void.
It is. I mean, we'll see how they adapt. I think I still took Patrick Mahomes in fantasy football because, he puts up points galore. So, open. I'm holding out hope this season that he still does fine.
Why did you pick him?
I think I might have. I don't remember.
I think I got.
Oh, wait. No, I didn't. I took Tom Brady and Dak Prescott. Never mind. I'm good. Forget Patrick Mahomes. They can suck it this year.
I know I have Josh Allen. I think I picked.
Yeah, you took Josh Allen in the first round. Nice job there.
Heck yeah. I wanted to pick him up, man. I can't believe that thing had 32 rounds. I'm like, oh my God.
You hit a 32-round NFL draft with 4 people last night.
Yeah.
That was that's going to be a chaotic league. Our head coaches are there's head coaches in our league, and they're projected mine 60 points in week 1. Everyone, Matt, you're the only team that's not projected over 400 points in week 1. Just so you know.
Pick Mike Tomlin.
Yeah, I don't know why you did that.
I don't know. I didn't know who to pick. I'm like, who am I picking?
Literally, just go to the person that's projected the most points for the season. You probably would have been safe.
Probably.
I don't know. We'll see how that pays off you. But back to the actual NFL. Get rid of the fantasy world. Houston Texans managed to go undefeated here in the preseason. They take down the 49ers 17-0. First look at Davis Mills here in the preseason. He got in there. I think it was 2 drives, 6 and 10, 58 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. So 2 very different outings in his, appearance here in the preseason. We saw a little bit more what to expect from this team. They put in a couple of their starters. I think they're going to have some issues receiving wise. That I think is going to be their biggest hole. From what we saw in the ground game, though, I think their running attack is going to be good enough, I think, for this team. If they can find a passing attack with Davis Mills and can get this defense situated. I mean, they played well against this 49ers team that went up against Brock Purdy, Trey Lance, and Nate Sudfeld. Trey Sermon got in the game. So, I mean, both teams were kind of showing out a couple of their starters in this game. So the fact that their defense held San Fran to 0 points despite, seeing some starters, and really Brock Purdy's looked decent as well for the 49ers as their backup quarterback.
A couple years ago, he was like
he was supposed to be the next big guy out of college football at Iowa State. Yeah. Steelers were looking at him for a while in the first round last season before he just tanked last year. So they never – he kind of got dropped. I don't remember how far back he fell to where they picked him up. Let me look this up. Where did he get – oh, he was the Mr. Irrelevant of the year.
Yeah, that's
right.
So
a potential first-round guy to Mr. Irrelevant.
That's bad.
And he's getting snaps in the preseason. How about that?
I hope he takes the job.
I don't know about from Trey Lance, but I think he has at least a shot at backup quarterback.
People are still like they still have Jimmy G. Like, what are they doing? Is Jimmy G gonna be the backup then?
Jimmy G's not playing. They haven't been involving him in practices at all. So
there you go.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think Brock Purdy, if they give him a shot, I mean, it's not like he's taking up any cap space being Mr. Irrelevant. He's down there at next to nothing.
I hope. I mean, we haven't seen any really Mr. Irrelevance be like great in the NFL. I think this guy would be great. I mean, I'm sure there's a couple in there, but none at quarterback.
So this one, Ryan Suckup.
Okay.
He's the punter for Tampa Bay, or kicker for Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
He was selected 256th in 2009 by the Chiefs.
Oof.
So he's listed as number 1. Defensive back Michael Green's number 2. Marty Moore, linebacker, number 3.
Who are they?
Michael Green was drafted in 2000. Moore was drafted. Is it going to tell me? No, it's not. So I got you one of them. I got you a handful of Mr. Relevance there. I did my best, I swear. But shout out to the Texans going undefeated. Hopefully it leads to a better season than 3 wins.
Yeah, we're just going to have to wait and see. I like Davis Mills, though. I like the competitiveness that he brings.
Well, the Bills sent out absolutely no one from their starting unit here in the final week of the preseason as they drop it 21-0 to the Carolina Panthers, who finished the preseason at 2-1, thanks to a strong effort from Baker Mayfield, 9 of 15, 89 yards, and 2 touchdowns for the former Brown. Did you see that window that he threw through as well? It got dropped by his wide receiver, but that was a great throw.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to show out for Carolina this season. I really think it's going to happen.
There's a lot of week 1 matchups that are like, oh my gosh, you got Browns, Panthers, Broncos, Seahawks. So Russ against
Broncos, Seahawks though is going to be a blowout for the Broncos.
Huh?
Broncos, Seahawks is going to be a blowout. Geno Smith was named the starting quarterback in the worst quarterback competition of all time. They were fighting Drew Lock and Geno Smith.
Who's the other guy?
No, it was just those two. Those were the two in the competition. He's on the team. I think he's third. He was guaranteed third string. Okay. Yeah, but Sam Darnold going to be out for an extended period of time as well. Injured his ankle in this final preseason game. He didn't look that great either, though. 5 of 11, 49 yards. So who cares? we'll see how this Panther squad will do. I think they got a pretty good running back room, which is obviously going to help out Baker when he can hand it off to those running backs or even throw it out of the backfield when you got a guy like Christian McCaffrey, who's a really great receiving back, if he can stay healthy. But between Chuba Hubbard, John Lovett, and Dante Foreman, I think they're going to be just fine at that running back position. We saw some struggles last year, but I think if they have to go a second year without McCaffrey, I think they're going to do just all right.
I like Chuba Hubbard.
I think the wide receiver core might be a little struggling this year, though.
Love it. He came out of Penn State, didn't he? He was the Baylor transfer. Now he's in the NFL. I'm pretty sure. I don't know.
Let me click on him real quick.
My internet's stinking.
Penn State, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice find.
I
completely forgot about that.
I know that name. He was a Baylor transfer.
All righty. Well, next one up here, Seahawks dropped their final their preseason game 26-27 to the Dallas Cowboys. Seahawks 0-3 in the preseason, and Drew Lock just about burned any shot he had of winning the starting job in this one. 13-24, 171 yards, 1 touchdown, but 3 interceptions for him through the air. DJ Dallas on the ground, though, did look good for Seattle. They might have, some potential guys to that running back spot. We'll see who they put back there. I really don't know. I don't think they're going to have a wonderful skill position set this year, but they're going to have, Metcalf and Lockett out there, so they're going to be just fine. Wide receiver targets, and they also brought in Noah Fant as well from the Broncos in that trade. So they got some solid players, and I don't think it's going to take too long for them to rebuild, at least on the offensive side. Defense, I think they got a lot of holes, but they still returned Bobby Wagner. So
yeah, and don't forget that they have, this is not the day to remember names. The Michigan State running back.
Oh yeah, Kenneth Walker.
Yeah, Kenneth Walker.
Third.
The third, yeah. That's gonna be sick though. If they had Jimmy G, this offense would be like okay.
I think they would, yeah. I just don't think they have anything to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, what are they going to send to the 49ers that the 49ers don't already have?
Just looking to get rid of him. Like, they don't care.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like it would take probably sending like Tyler Lockett to get Jimmy Garoppolo and probably some picks. And I don't think the Seahawks want to do that. I think the Seahawks want to tank this season and get C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young. Or Will Anderson. Defensive players normally do tend to go higher than quarterbacks.
No, they're picking Sean Clifford, man.
Ain't nobody picking Sean Clifford, at least not in the first round. He might be a 5th rounder. Please. Penn State's worse at sending quarterbacks to the NFL than Ohio State.
That is true. I mean, I don't know. They're both pretty bad.
They are, but I mean, at least Ohio State's had the more recent regular season starter. You got that. I mean, Justin Fields, Dwayne Haskins did have some starts in Washington.
Should have. So,
well, I mean, he had starts, just not very many, and they kind of tanked it around him. But, I mean, those were the last 2 quarterbacks. J.T. Barrett, I think, only got preseason
practice squad with the
practice
Steelers.
Squad. Well, he was on Steelers, Saints, Seahawks, Broncos, I think. So
he was Steelers most recently.
Most recently Steelers, yeah, but he spent a long time with the Saints right out of college. Cowboys on the other side of this have cut Ben DiNucci, the former 7th-round pick, to cut their quarterback room down to Dak Prescott, Cooper Rush, and Will Grier out of West Virginia.
I like Will Grier,
I love Will Grier, man. He's great. He went 12-22, 2 touchdowns, 88 yards. That's pretty much all we saw out of this unit. They didn't really show us too much else. It was final quarterback reps to see who took the final spot on the roster.
I think I can talk for both of us that West Virginia Mountaineer football has definitely fallen apart after Will Grier left.
Yeah. West Virginia, I mean, they were being talked about as potential teams in the college football playoff when Will Grier was there. They were, height of their powers, Big 12 champions.
Top 10.
Nobody was, it was West Virginia and Oklahoma as the 2 teams people were looking at. Yeah. And Will Grier graduated and they just went right down to the dumpster.
Yep.
Haven't been the same since, but the Chargers go 0-3 surprisingly here in the preseason. I guess semi-surprising, semi-not surprising. They didn't let pretty much anybody of their starting unit get any playing time here in the preseason, so it might be a sloppy week 1, but the Saints come out on top. They're 1-2. They didn't really give us much of a look at their guys. We got a little bit of Kamara. He got 2 carries. Jameis Winston got 4 attempts there. Not a lot to look at. Jarvis got out. He had 2 receptions for 35 yards. Olave got 1 reception for 19 yards. Kamara got 1 reception for 5 yards. So they gave us a little bit in piece here. And Ian Book kind of solidified himself QB3, I think, for the Saints. So I think they're gonna be a pretty good team to watch for in the NFC.
I think so too. I like Jameis there.
I do too. I think he's gonna. I hope he turns it around and becomes something. Too. But I mean, you look at this matchup, and there's a very realistic possibility that this is a Super Bowl preview. Saints Chargers. Oh, I want to see that, man. I want to see these 2 teams loading out and going up against one another in the Super Bowl. That'd be epic. I don't know if they face each other in the regular season. I'm looking.
Maybe a couple.
No, they don't. Not in the regular season. You don't think it could happen now with the talent that these 2 teams have?
I don't know.
You just want the Bills.
No.
Yeah.
No. What Steelers? No.
Be realistic, Matt.
All right. It could happen. It could.
Not this year.
Not with Pitts. Oh, no. Not with Pittsburgh. I'm talking about the Chargers.
Bills could make it. But I think when you look at Justin Herbert, he was the 2nd best quarterback in the NFL last year in terms of passing yards. So I think it's a very real possibility that he could lead this team with a million weapons on him. I mean, between Keenan Allen, Mike Williams.
I like that Mike Williams.
Their running back.
Quiet. He is so underrated. Wait, the Chargers running back?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Running back? I
literally just talked about him last week. Yeah, Austin Eckler.
Yeah.
And then they also have Gerald Everett at tight end. They got Josh Palmer at wide receiver. They got a really great group. And not to mention, you got a defensive side with Joey Bosa, Kenneth Murray, and Khalil Mack. To go along with J.C. Jackson, Nasir Adderley, Jerwin James Jr., Michael Davis, Drew Tranquil, Sebastian Joseph Day, Jerry Tillery. I mean, they got a lot of talent all throughout this team. So I think they're a very realistic Super Bowl team. And you don't always see the teams with a ton of superstar names on it make it. Yeah. But and I think that's kind of what you look at with this offense. Right? They don't have superstars necessarily, but they got guys that fit together. Yeah, Keenan Allen, wide receiver 1 or 2, I believe.
I think he is 1, honestly. Is he 1?
I don't. If he is at wide receiver 1, he was 3rd on their team in receiving yards last year, but behind Mike Williams and their running back, who's Austin Eckler. Yep, forgot his name again. Patriots dropped to 1-2 behind the Raiders, moving to 4-0 in the preseason. Only team to go 4-0 in the preseason. And they win it 23-6, and the entire time we didn't see Derek Carr or Devontae Adams get in these games. So they have a really, really good depth group in this team. This game, they put Jace Garbers and Jarrett Stidham, who I think is who they've had roll the entire preseason.
Okay. Jarrett Stidham's pretty good.
In Patriots, they even put in Mac Jones. He went 9 of 13 for 71 yards and an interception. Bailey Zappi, 10 of 14, 84 yards and an interception. Brian Hoyer went 6 of 7 for 47 yards.
Hoyer's still around.
Hoyer is still around. I mean, but we saw the Patriots team put their starters out there, and they did nothing against the Raiders' second unit. Raiders might be going big this year, man.
I'm telling you, man.
Either that or they're going to be the next 4-0 to 0-16.
Raiders-Bills, the AFC Championship.
Okay.
I'm calling.
I don't know about that. That not unlikely, but
I like saying that.
Both those teams like to choke in the playoffs, so the likelihood of them going up against one another. Come on, Bills had a chance to win it, and they sent it to overtime and lose. They had a chance to win in regular time. If you don't want a coin to decide the game, win it in regular time.
Yeah.
Your defense needed one stop, and they couldn't do it.
Defense was horrible.
Oh, yeah. Prevent defense is one of the worst things to happen to the NFL. It never works.
I know. I don't want to talk about that.
Falcons took down the Jags 28-12. Jacksonville had more chances than anybody but the Raiders to find a win, and they couldn't do it. They sucked. They were terrible. They're going to be awful this season if they don't have the Jaguars.
Oh, yeah.
They went 0-4 in the preseason. They had 4 chances, and they couldn't get it done. And it's not like they played cream of the crop talent. They went up against the Raiders in the Hall of Fame game, as the Raiders didn't start anybody out there. They went up in the Browns in week 2, a Browns team that looked terrible in that game. Then they lose to the Steelers by 1 point, as the Steelers are going through a quarterback, carousel. And then they lose to the Falcons in this week, and their defense got 2 interceptions on Desmond Ridder, and the offense couldn't do a thing. 4 field goals in this game. Let's just put this. If you drafted the Jaguars kicker, great job. I think he's going to get a lot of points this season in fantasy football. Because this offense, I know it's not Trevor Lawrence, not Travis Etienne, not James Robinson. They don't have their guys out there yet, but to see a depth this bad, I think it does not bode well if they have any injuries in the regular season. Yeah, I think so. So, they have good players.
We've seen this
but
before,
it's not gelling.
We've seen preseason teams
go
really or 4-0. Like 2016 Browns went 4-0 and
well, Detroit Lions, when they had their losing season, they were 4-0 in the preseason, I believe, as well.
And go 0-16. It happens.
It does, but 0-4 does not turn into 16-0. I can tell you that.
Oh, definitely not with the Chargers. Are you kidding me?
You mean with Jacksonville?
Oh, the Jaguars. My bad. But still,
the Jacksonville Chargers.
The Chargers.
Doesn't sound bad. I'm not going to lie.
Doesn't sound bad.
But Desmond Ridder did not look great in this game. He's definitely a quarterback, too. He's going to be behind Mariota this season. I think they've solidified up a lot of their positions. I just think they need a better wide receiver core out there.
Mariota, he's more than number 1, isn't he?
I don't know. He might be. He didn't play in this game, so I can't pull up his number.
I think it's number 1. Number 1, 3.
Yeah, it's number 1.
Number 1. All right.
QB1. He put it out there. Bengals win the Super Bowl rematch 16-7. Rams did not elect to use John Wolford in this game. Instead, they put out Bryce Perkins, who did all right but couldn't find the end zone through the air. Jake Browning for the Bengals was the lone passing touchdown as he gave it to Justin Rigg on a 3-yard reception. What's that, Matt?
Browning from Washington, right?
I believe so. Yeah, Jake Browning, former Washington, also played for the Vikings there in the backup squad. After being an undrafted free agent in 2019.
Okay.
Yeah, but Bengals win the rematch. Neither one of these guys were putting their starters out there after what happened in the joint practices, so that'll be interesting. Let me check if they see each other in the regular season. No, they don't have a game against them in the regular season, unfortunately. So we will have to wait and see if both teams can get back to a Super Bowl for that to happen, but we got to rapid fire some of these last ones. Just 10 minutes left here on the show today. We'll be back at it again tomorrow and for the rest of the week. As always, Ravens remain undefeated here in the preseason, taking down the Commanders 17-15. Again, not a lot of starters. Dolphins ripped through the Eagles 48-10. Eagles had Reed Sinnett take most of their snaps at quarterback. Carson Strong and Gardner Minshew got a little bit of work. One of those 3 guys is getting cut this week, though. In the next 2 days, I think I saw 800 players will be cut from the NFL rosters, and only a handful will be brought back for practice squad. So, it's been nice seeing a lot of these guys, but unfortunately, it's the end of the road for a lot of them. Dolphins offense looked really good. Every quarterback did their job well in that game. Titans took down the Cardinals 26-3. They moved to 2-1. Cardinals 1-2. Trace McSorley looked average, which is pretty much his entire career. He's looked pretty average just about everywhere he's been. He's had, he's been a little higher than average in some moments, but just he's a baseline guy with a couple peaks and valleys in there.
Yeah.
Browns dropped their final preseason game. They're 1-2. They lose to the Bears, who are now 3-0. Justin Fields went just about perfect. 14-16, 156 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. Also picked up 11 yards on the ground on 2 carries for him. I like to see that. Obviously, Browns not looking at a ton here. They did give Jacoby Brissett a little bit of reps. He didn't look great. I think there's a chance early in the season Josh Dobbs steals the show from Brissett.
It might be.
He's gotten so much work in this preseason. I think there's a huge chance.
I mean, any quarterback for the Browns is going to get some work.
Well, maybe not Josh Rosen.
Oh, yeah. Who?
Josh Rosen, man.
The guy that said, there was 9 mistakes ahead of me. Oh, yeah. Yeah. What is it, like his 5th NFL team in 3 years?
Something like that.
That's bad.
Colts beat the Buccaneers. Buccaneers go 0-3 in the preseason. Tom Brady did play 6 of 8, 44 yards from him, but their offense really wasn't going anywhere. Sam Ehlinger led most of the charge for the Colts. Saw Matt Ryan for a little bit, 5 of 7, 59 yards for him, but not much to write home about. Defensive and rushing games for both those teams. Broncos take down the Minnesota Vikings, who fall to 0-3. Broncos 2-1 after a 23-13 victory. The Kellen Mond experience, I think, is also coming to a close in Minnesota. I wouldn't be surprised if he's cut by next preseason. I think he'll probably make it through as the backup this year, but I think he'll be cut before next regular season.
Who else do they got there besides
Sean Mannion?
Oh, yeah, Mannion. I remember Mannion.
They don't have much.
They don't have much.
Broncos send Brent Ripien and Josh Johnson out there. Neither one of them had any passing touchdowns. Montreal Washington had the lone touchdown on the ground for them, 11 yards for a touchdown on his only carry of the day. Talk about efficiency. And they had 11 points from Brandon McManus with a long of 50 yards here in the preseason. So overall, I mean, decent preseason for the Broncos. I'm excited, yet kind of wary on what they're going to be this season. I'm not sure yet. But the Jets go 31-27 over the Giants. Giants fall to 2-1. Jets undefeated here in the preseason. And Tyrod Taylor got carted off in this game as well, so that'll hurt their depth at quarterback for the Giants.
No!
Mike White looked pretty good yet again, 13-17, 170 and 2 touchdowns. Chris Streveler also got in there, 10-13 for 2 touchdowns. And so did old Flacco, who might end up being quarterback at some point this season if Zach Wilson gets injured.
I used to hate Joe Flacco, man.
7-12, 76 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 1 interception for Joe Flacco.
I used to hate Joe Flacco, but, I'm jumping on it. Joe Flacco with the Jets, man. The Flacco-led Jets. To the Super Bowl.
No, they're not being led by Flacco. They got led by Flacco last year to win nowhere.
Oh, never know.
Steelers, though, somehow managed to go undefeated in this preseason, 3-0 after. Dude, you had maybe the easiest preseason schedule of all time. Seahawks, Jags, Lions. I'm just throwing out that. I mean, no wonder every quarterback for this team looked good. They weren't going up against anyone.
I like Kenny Pickett though, man.
I do too. I mean, you look at this game, Trubisky went 15-19 for 160 yards and touchdown. Pickett 10-14, 90 yards, and then Mason Rudolph really just put a duck up there, a goose egg, 0-3.
That's what
passing
Rudolph
the football.
does.
He's looked really good. Benny Snell actually got the most yards on the rushing game, and yet again though, Mike Tomlin didn't run the football.
Nope. You're going to have to run the football. But these new quarterbacks trying to get comfortable, run Harris, run Snell. Run.
It's gonna be interesting because Najee Harris got a ton of carries last year, but like I've been saying, his yards per carry was just bad.
Man. First year,
yeah.
Bad
but
offensive line. So he didn't carry a lot either because Big Ben was at the helm. He didn't get a lot of carries.
Was that offensive line that bad last year?
No, it was pretty bad. Wasn't the best.
Let's see.
See where ranked.
I'm looking up who got sacked the most last year. And where Big Ben fell on it. Okay, he was what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He was 9th most sacked last season.
That's bad.
38. It's bad, but I mean, look at the guys above him. Joe Burrow, Super Bowl. Ryan Tannehill, playoffs. Zach Wilson, rookie. Baker Mayfield, injured, and that was just a crapshoot last year. Derek Carr, nonstop chaos. Ryan, he was with the Falcons. Taylor Heineke, it's Washington. Lamar Jackson, everyone was injured for him last season. And then it's Big Ben, who played all season. And is old. Yeah, couldn't move. then you look behind him, Justin Fields, Sam Darnold, Jared Goff, Russell Wilson. It's really a lot of bad situations for those quarterbacks. I don't know. I think out of all those guys, Big Ben might have had the best unit around him for some of those. Joe Burrow obviously had the best unit of all those guys around him, but Big Ben not too far down on there. But that is just about going to do it here for the show, Matt. We got one more thing to hand out this week's Beast of the Week, baby. Who is it?
Beast of the Week. Oh my gosh, I saw this play, and it's been. Listen, it's on our Instagram feed. If you can jump on there and look, it's one of the first few things I sent. My internet's not loaded. It's amazing now. I saw it. It was. I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is definitely Beast of the Week. I'm gonna try and load.
So loading. What was it?
It's in our Instagram feed if you want to go look, but my page isn't loading.
Oh, okay. I guess let me pull this up real quick. Glad I didn't do this at the very end of the show.
I'm sorry, I totally forgot. It's one of the first videos there, I think.
Man, I don't see anything on our Instagram. At Casual Sports Report. There's nothing there.
Wait a minute. Here, it finally loaded. Finally loaded. Maybe. Okay, here we go. Taking some time.
I'm going to say Instagram is very slow this morning. I will agree.
Very much so, yeah.
Dude, the most recent thing I have is November 16th of 2021. Yeah, you got to get up to date, man, on that Instagram.
It's up here. It's coming. Where is it?
What's the highlight? Who's the beast?
I'm trying to find it.
I don't know about this one, but I'll throw this out here from I believe it was South Range. Shane Lindstrom doing the flip over a defensive player made YSN's play of the week. I just got to say, out of any beast, that might be the most beast play you can have. Just doing a flip over a defender. I mean, I think last I checked, I had over 5,000 views on one of our social medias. I'm not sure which one here on the network. Yeah. Matt, do you have any idea? Otherwise, I'm giving this to Shane Lindstrom because that was a beast move.
Yeah. That was the play of the week for YSN. There it is. Yeah. Was that it?
Yeah, Shane Lindstrom doing the flip.
Oh, yeah, that was it. My bad. Oh.
I'm facepalming hard on that one. Matt's a little rusty. He hasn't been on the show in a little bit, but that will do things here for us yet again today. I've been Alex Porter. That's Matt Morrison. As you can see down by the little nameplates right there. We'll be back on the show tomorrow. Not sure who the crew is yet. We haven't solidified it, but you'll find out as soon as we do. Well, sort of. Peace out.